The Growing Up Brooklyn podcast is a Black Sarah Gaming production.
Welcome to the Growing Up Brooklyn podcast. I'm your host, Coach Ty. And on today's episode, we have a super special guest because I've known this young lady since we were teenagers. So we go back a long time. And I always like to share a funny story about my guests, especially the ones that I've known and I've grown up with. Miss Keair Brown was probably one of the funniest girls you would ever know in Boulevard. And when I say about funny, there was few girls that could rank. We called it ranking. They call it dozens. They had different names for it. And there was few girls that could hang with the guys. And one time, I remember we were on. Her and a group of them came up to my house. I was living in Fairfield at the time, and unfortunately, somebody poo-pooed the parade because they called their mom and they had to leave and stuff. But we were up there cracking jokes like crazy. And when I could say she could hang with the best of them, like, and we used to have what's called the 10-second knockout. She was just dropping dudes left and right, just with the jokes and the quick wit. And, to see, to the amazing, woman she is today, the mom, just everything is just so special about her. And I couldn't wait to get her on this podcast. And she's one of Boulevard's finest and brightest. Miss Keair Brown, representing East New York, Brooklyn. Keair, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Ty. I really appreciate it. You just opened up just a whole bunch of flood of memories now. Just going being on Ashford, being on in Fairfield and everything. So yes, thank you. Thank you for reminding me about those memories. Oh my God.
Oh man, we had such good memories. And like we was talking pre-production, it's good to see, with Facebook friends also, and you and your clique, or, we were talking about like how tight you are, like how y'all meet up and how me and the Ashford Street clique, we're so tight. And, when you look across Boulevard in our age group, there are not a lot of cliques that are still that tight.
Right.
And we're that tight on the fellas, and you girls, you ladies are that tight. And that's very, like, friendship like that. When you know people close to 30, 40 years, that's a long time to know somebody. And that's when you know who your true friends are. And like I said, when I see you sisters, all together and fellowshipping and talking and going out to dinner, painting sips, they out there flexing and stuff like that. Somebody's birthday, they always getting together, and it's a blessing, and I love to see it. And like I said, big ups to you and your crew.
Thank you.
I won't go through all of them by name because I know you got some stories about them, but it's great to see you guys.
Too many to tell.
Yeah, it's great to see you ladies still tight because, like R&B groups, the ladies have infighting and everybody goes to their thing, but you ladies still to this day being tight is just so amazing. And I applaud that. Definitely applaud that.
I think what really makes our friendship last, so it's how many of us? It's 8 of us all together. What really, and some of us, let's say Sydney and Tiffany, they were in the same hospital together. So, some of us literally from birth. I think what makes our relationship as friends last is that we are real with each other. We when you say rank, literally that's what we do all the time. When we get together, it's nonstop jokes. It's nonstop getting on each other. Nothing is off the limits. Nothing. You know that Rachel, she's now a Muslim sister.
Right.
We rank. Everybody ranks. Nothing. You got divorced. Oh yeah, you getting it too. Everybody gets jigged on all the time. So, but no, we're real with each other, and I feel that that's what's lacking in a lot of friendships nowadays. You're really not talking to each other and understanding each other and really, telling it like it is. I mean, it don't have to be rude all the time or whatever, but really, telling your friend, when they're wrong or whatever the case may be, and being that supportive friend. So I think that's what really I won't say not everybody, but it sets us apart from a lot of friendships that are long withstanding friendships, is that we're real with each other. We are real with each other, and we make sure we love on each other and support each other as well too. Yes.
Oh man, I wish I could have a mic or a camera crew there because I can just imagine. Oh my God, you gotta be as bad as us because we still crack mother jokes. We still crack. I tell people all the time, we're going to be, well, we're all approaching our 50s now, and we're still cracking mother jokes, and even
Yes.
though, my mom isn't here, I
Mhm.
told them, hey, still crack the mother jokes because that's what we did. And my mom was in on the jokes,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it just, the head like you guys still do that is like I said, oh my, I would love to be a fly on the wall and just hear
Man.
I can imagine. Oh my God.
In public, in
Yeah, yeah.
private, nowhere, even everywhere. We always on each other. It's so much fun. And anytime
Love
we
it.
get together, it's literally like I said before. It can be 6 months, it can be a year, and we pick up right off where we left off at. We have our own, our separate friendships outside of us, outside of our group, but we always the core is them. Okay, again, I'm not naming everybody. If you know who we are, we know who we are.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not naming everybody, but yeah, the core group is who we are together, and we always come back to each other and making sure that and we're all each other's godparents to our kids.
Yeah.
So you definitely it runs deep to with our children as well, and then the spouses as well too. The spouses know that we love you, but if you do something wrong to my girl,
We're
it's
gonna
going to be
jump
a
you.
problem. It's going to be a problem. We don't care how long y'all been together. You do something wrong to my girl, it's going to be a problem. But we love them nonetheless as well too, and they can get ranked on too.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I always like to start the podcast with this question. What is your earliest memory of growing up in Brooklyn?
Man. Well, I am a transplant to East New York. I was born in Bed-Stuy on Jefferson Avenue and Stuyvesant. And from there, we had a brownstone, which is probably now worth millions and millions of dollars.
$5 million. Yeah.
Exactly, 590 Jefferson. And unfortunately, due to rough circumstances, my mom lost the and we wind up moving to Willoughby and Bedford Avenue. And from there, it was a terrible situation, landlord from hell, so on and so forth. My mom had applied for housing, and she wind up getting housing and moving to Boulevard Houses. And that was back in 1989, I think, or 1990, one or the other.
Yeah.
And that was my beginning of living in the projects. I like to call them houses now, but the projects. But I was scared because when I used to live on Willoughby, we were close to Lafayette houses, I think. Yeah, Lafayette
Yeah. Yeah.
houses. And they were always jumping all the time. And the girls was wild over there. The guys was wild. Everybody every day shootout. And they always had beef with the guys on Bedford Avenue. And we always were, afraid of living in the projects. Like what are y'all doing in the in these buildings all the time.
Right.
So when my mom told me that we were moving to Boulevard projects, I'm like, what is that? Where is that at? How am I get to school? Because what school I'm going to? And when I got there, and I was like, wow, it's nice over here.
Country club. That's right.
I'm like, it don't look like the other places, the dilapidated playgrounds and stuff like that. And, the green courts was nice. And we was like, wait a minute, there's a big lawn in the middle of where our apartment was.
Yep.
740 Stanley. I was like, wait, that's big lawn outside. And people are outside playing and having fun. Like, oh, okay, this is different from what, I thought it was. But then you go down the block, no offense to those in Linden, but you go down the block to Linden, you're like, oh yeah, okay, they're kind of rough out there. But Boulevard was just like the greenery and everything. Like, what's going on? So I would say my core memory is coming to Boulevard. I had obviously had a life in Bed-Stuy, but I don't think I started having good friendships, good times until I moved to East New York and started going to Gersh for after school programs and stuff like that. Started working for them as a school, like a student aide for the after school center and stuff like that, and helping kids with homework. We wasn't really helping. We were kids ourselves, so we weren't helping nobody with homework. I I think really like fast forwarding, just thinking about it, my life within Boulevard is everything. If it wasn't for Boulevard, I wouldn't have met my son's father. If it wasn't for Boulevard, I wouldn't have met certain people, and then met my now ex-husband to have my daughter. Like is everything is like all connected some kind of way. And it was good or bad, it was a great time for the most part. For the most part, it was a great time. So my memories run really deep, really, really deep with Boulevard. It's in itself. Just I think the pivotal moments are the summertime. It's the summertime. Sitting outside from sun up to sundown in
These
front
kids
of
will never know.
738, or in the middle, we would meet you guys halfway in that little park between Ashford and like 357, and we'll meet up there in that little park and just hang out, and then we go our separate ways, or just sit in front of the building, or be at green courts where they used to have the games and stuff like that. Do they even have any games like that anymore in green courts? No.
I don't
It's
think
always
so.
at it's always at Gersh now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I remember they used to have games and things like that, and we used to play handball all the time, all types of hours. We was just outside. It
Yes.
was just always being outside. Those are some good times. Like literally a couple of weeks ago, we mentioned that we just want to just have one of them old school hang out inside in front of the building one day. And I think I'm going to try to pull that together before the summer is over,
Yeah.
because we need something like that just for old time's sakes. I know everybody had the Boulevard Day and everything like that. No, no, no. Just the old school, just chilling and just sitting outside, maybe having a couple of drinks. We'll see, we'll see. And just hanging out and just talking. Because that's what we used to do. And it was so much fun. Those were the days. No time when we're going out. And, even though we did used to go out a lot, none of that was fun. Always being around the way was fun.
It was
What
fun.
time you coming outside? Calling Joelle. Joelle, what time you up? No, let's go to the store and get some drinks and stuff and go outside. Okay, yeah, we be the first. Me and Joelle be the first one outside early in the morning, going to the store. Everybody else is still asleep because they stayed up all night last night. But me and Joelle still up, and we're already up, and we're Larry. Let's start the day. Let's get outside. Parents was pissed off. They didn't understand why the hell we was always hanging outside together.
Hmm.
They didn't understand how it was just so much fun. When are you coming in the house? Are you gonna come in to eat? No, what we gonna eat? We gonna go to the Chinese restaurant. We get food from the Chinese restaurant. And we'll come and sit outside on the bench, or we'll take a walk up to Pennsylvania Avenue and just get some food from there. Always so much fun. Just being outside. That's it. Can't do that now. You don't know what's going on outside now. But back then, always being outside was the best time ever.
Amen. Yeah, listen, I was telling somebody, I looked at my watch, I said, summertime right now. I said, all you would hear was a basketball dribbling through,
Yes.
KC look out his window, Carlton look out his window,
Uh-huh.
and by 11 o'clock in the morning, the green course was full, and we were ready to
Exactly.
play. And we'd be there
Exactly.
all day, living off of a tropical fantasy soda and a $2 hero sandwich,
Yes.
turkey or ham and cheese, and that was it. And that's
Yes.
our only meal for the day till dinner.
Exactly.
And like I said, we were outside. It was just, I mean, people from Linden and Cypress and they call Boulevard the country club.
Right.
I mean, Boulevard had its crime and it had its moments and it
Mhm.
had its pockets of crime. But for the most part, you could be outside all
Yes.
night and not really, have any
Have
problems.
no
Like I didn't
issues.
really
Yeah.
have any problems, until, we got old and we had that big misunderstanding.
Mhm.
No, and I won't even delve into that. But for the most part, we all grew up together and could hang out and
Right.
have a good time. And, like you said, to sit on the bench for hours and just not talk about nothing.
Right.
Just happy to be outside.
Yeah, just literally just be. Yeah, and you know what? That's true too. A lot of the issues that came about was from outside sources. There were never folks who were from Boulevard or whatever that would start the trouble. It was always anytime if you heard about us having fights and stuff like that, it's because folks from everywhere else came to us and was starting some mess. We never started any mess back then. And it's so funny. Just thinking about that, like we never we always was chill with everybody. We were chill with everybody. But I think what really got a lot of other girls pissed off was because we were cool with all of the guys in
Yeah.
Boulevard.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
cool with everybody, everybody.
That's
And
a
I
fact.
think that they took that as us messing around with all of the guys too. And it wasn't like that. And we always got into fights. It was, oh, did you hear Keair fought this person? Did you hear this? Rachel fought this person? Because everybody, oh my God, the cats.
You're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. You're fine. You're fine.
No, the cat got a plastic bag around him now. Something like this was gonna
You're fine. No, listen, you're fine.
anyway. But yeah, anytime there was any issues or whatever the case may be, it was always because of outside
Yeah,
sources.
jealousy. Yeah,
Yeah.
just jealous for no reason. Like I said, y'all used to come up on Ashford Street and hang out. Like I said, your clique was just cool where y'all can come to Ashford, y'all can go
Mhm.
to Skank, you can go
Yep.
to High Boulevard.
Boulevard, Pink Houses,
Yeah.
Cypress. We used to be everywhere. We used to be in Brownsville. We used to be everywhere all the time, just literally just chilling.
Yeah.
Literally, we never had no, and it was always with guys because the guys were cool, and we met most of the guys we met through Gersh when we used to play basketball inside Gersh,
Mhm.
the after school program.
Your Jackie Robinson, yeah.
Yes, yes. So, that for the most part, we would just be like, yo, why don't y'all come out to Riverdale? Riverdale, that's a jail. What are you, what we going to Riverdale for? Okay, we go to Riverdale. We'll just go. We literally was used to be all over Brooklyn, literally hanging out. We even made our way out here to Staten Island at one point too. But nonetheless, we literally was always chill with everybody. But the outside source, the ops, let's just say the
Nah,
kids say now, the ops would come in and they would try to like really mess with us because they thought that we were a threat of some kind. We don't even know why. We just acting stupid. We just joking around, just like anybody else. We couldn't
mhm,
understand what the heck they were talking about, but we knew that we weren't going to just let them, try to diss us and or get beat us up or whatever the case may be. So we had to start defending ourselves, you
yeah.
know. But nonetheless, we just wanted to have fun, and that's all we did. That's all we did. Those were the good days.
Craziness.
Those were the good days.
Yeah, the good days, exactly. So how much have you seen a change in Boulevard? Like the last time I went there, I mean, Boulevard is private now. It's not even New
Right,
York City housing no more.
right,
And
right.
I was just amazed like how much it just looks different. Like so how much to you, how much has it changed in the last 30 years?
So the last time I've been to Boulevard was around Thanksgiving, in between Thanksgiving and Christmas time. So we do our Friendsgiving every year now, and we do it at everybody's house. And this year was at Sydney's house, and the apartments, the way they changed everything, they just make everything look module, more module than they were before, and it just it don't feel real. I want to say it just doesn't feel real. If I get there and I do get a sense of home because
Mhm.
I know the layout and everything like that, but I just feel that it just don't feel like home anymore. I mean, some of the same folks are there. Some of the same folks are there, but I just feel like this something has been ripped away. Once they take away NYCHA for some reason, it made it corporate.
Corporate, yeah.
It doesn't seem like home anymore. And I fear that whatever, like I know there's like a little bit of like a lot of drama going on over there sometimes with the young guys and stuff like that. And I don't know too much about it, but I know that sometimes it can be a lot. And I fear that, a lot of the closeness that we had, with the seniors,
Mhm.
and then, everybody else down, that closeness and everybody watching out for each other and stuff like that, all of that has gone. All of that has gone. So it's basically strangers now when you go there. And it's almost like you have to, be reintroduced or introduced again to reintroduced to some folks, be like, oh, who that? And be like, oh, that's Keair. Like, oh, who's Keair? I'm like, me, like I'm famous or nothing like that, but it just don't feel like home. Like, oh yeah, I heard about Keair. How you doing? Whatever the case may be, it's almost like you're like, well, who she thinks she is coming out here, and it just don't feel like home. It don't
Right.
feel like home, and I don't go visit often. That's sad for several reasons. Living and working in Staten Island is just because Staten Island is its own place, and
Right.
you don't want to. I've become one of the Staten Islanders where I don't want to leave the island for anything. It takes Unfortunately, I don't have a car, so it takes me 10 hours to get somewhere. So I don't want to do it. So I work and live, breathe on Staten Island. So I don't get to go to Brooklyn too often. But when I do, I don't feel welcome anymore. Only by my friends and everybody, but
Right.
I just don't feel that camaraderie anymore when I get there. I don't know. How do you feel? How do you feel
No,
when you
and it's kind of the same for me. Like when I went through East New York, so first the Shirley Chisholm Park being back there is
Yeah.
new.
Yeah, that's
All the houses they built around the Gateway Mall. I was like, they got a high school back there, but like Jefferson football field used to be back there by
by
itself.
itself,
And
yes.
now it's like a whole nother damn community, post office, high school. This I'm
Mhm.
like, what the hell happened behind Fairfield? Like, and that was all like just dirt. And they had the new roads where they used to drag race. Like it's just like you said, it doesn't even feel the same. And then I was coming down Linden Boulevard. Me and Stein were coming from somewhere, and I was coming down Linden Boulevard,
Mm.
and there was a high rise building on like Snedeker by the L train, and I was like,
What?
"The hell did they build this? Then like this shit don't even fit." Yeah, it don't even fit. I think the Burger King I think is gone from over there. The
Wow.
McDonald's is still there. Galaxy Diner obviously is
Yeah,
gone.
that's gone. Yeah, I've heard about that.
Odell's is gone. Like a lot of the stuff that used to be like you said, it doesn't feel like home.
No.
It just feels different. Like even when I went back in November. I stayed downtown Brooklyn.
Mhm.
And I went to Brooklyn Tech, and it didn't even feel the same. Like I walked my old route, like I said, I was going to high school,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it didn't even feel the same. All by the Brooklyn Academy of Music is different. I mean,
Yeah, oh yeah, that's
Barclays is
totally
actually, is obviously new, but downtown Brooklyn looks like downtown Manhattan with all the high rise apartments down
exactly.
there.
Exactly.
So it's just like you said, I felt like a stranger. I'm like, I'm riding the train and I'm like, damn, my phone is working on the train because
Right.
they got the Wi-Fi on the
Right.
trains now. I was like, I'm getting a call on the train. Like, what the
Exactly.
hell? Before, you have your phone or your radio. As soon as you went down on
Everything
that
cut
tunnel from
off.
Sutter Avenue, Rutland Road,
That's it.
all
Cut off.
communication gone. You cut off from the rest of the world. Like I said, New York in its whole, like even when I went outside Madison Square Garden, the hotel that was across the street, they ripped that up. Like
Mhm. Mm.
like I said, I felt like a stranger.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just it just it just felt different.
And overcrowded. My God, there's
Yes.
not a day when I'm thinking back let's say going back to the Gateway area, any day that I would have went, it was always crowded, and there's never any parking, there's never anything. It's just so many people on top of each other, and they just keep on building and building and building. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that's another reason why I stay on Staten Island, because they're not building as fast as they are over there. And quite honestly, they're coming. They're going to be on their way over this way soon. But yeah, it's just overcrowded, and it don't feel like home anymore. It
Yeah.
doesn't
As
feel
soon
like
as they add another ferry route over there, I think
yeah.
you guys are gonna see because I know it's pretty much a Staten Island ferry, and I know
Mhm.
the tolls got to be crazy going back and forth over the
Yeah, yeah,
Verrazano.
yeah. It's a
But
lot. Yeah, I get
yeah,
no visitors. No
so yes,
visitors.
but when you start seeing more ferry routes coming out of like, I don't
Mhm,
know, I know I saw because I still watch New York One every now and then, even from here in Florida,
mhm, mhm.
and I know they talked about doing a ferry from Staten Island to like
Yeah, yeah.
the Brooklyn Piers or down by Red Hook. I was like,
Right,
if they
right.
open that up, it's Staten Island. Like I said, it's gonna be a whole real estate redevelopment out there in Staten Island.
They already have a Staten Island ferry, not
Hmm.
I'm sorry, New York City ferry that goes to Battery Park and then to
Yes.
34th Street. So then they're going to add another one. That's definitely, even though they say it's in talks, I know that they already signed off on it, and it's going to be going back and forth to Brooklyn soon. It works out in certain kind of ways, but like you said, we know what comes back after that. What's coming on after that. More development, more people coming in and out,
And
and
rent's going up.
rents going up because we're kind of still the cheapest out here a little bit, but it's gonna get even worse. It's gonna get even worse. So yeah, I miss being there. There are days where I am like I long for the companionship and just going out, calling somebody and say, "Hey, I'm coming to your house." Or we didn't even call anybody. We just show up at somebody's house. What you doing? I'm getting dressed. All right, stay in the living room while you get dressed and we can go outside. I miss that all the time. Like I wish that we lived together in the same area like we did, but of course, life, everybody is spread out and we have different priorities and things like that. So it's kind of hard to literally get us all in one room at one time. When we planned something that sipping paint took a lot of it was a nice evening, but it took a lot of planning for us, all of us to get together. But I just miss that instant gratification of just being with my girls or just hanging out with everybody, and it's sad that, we can't, we can't relive those moments all the time anymore. But, I'm happy to hold on to those memories that we had, that literally last forever because we'll sit back and we'll just talk about stuff that happened back in the days and still be entertained like it happened yesterday. So
Exactly.
and when the
Exactly.
kids are all around and they hearing us talking and they don't interrupt, they just listen to us because they're like, they just sponges, of course.
Yeah,
They hear
soaking in
all
them
these
stories.
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hear all these stories and they're like, really? What? And then now that most of our kids are older, only myself, Joelle, and Lushana have the boys. They're 12 and 11. So
Hmm.
those are the last of the bunch. But the rest of all of our kids are all grown now. The
Yeah.
first batch, rather, the
Yeah.
first batch
Yeah.
are all grown. So, now that the older kids, they get to listen in on the other stories that they weren't privy before to listen to.
Right.
So now they're like, oh, wait a minute, you mean what? Y'all used to do where?
Right.
What? So that's the fun time. That's why I got to get this family reunion thing going on because we really need to get together and have this time, and especially with our kids because it's much needed. It's much needed.
It is. It is. It is.
Bringing
So
back
what
the
was
family reunion stuff.
yeah, for sure. And let me know because I'm gonna let my peoples know and hopefully we
Yeah,
can all make it up there and
definitely. That would be
no.
so cool. That would be
Yeah,
so
that
cool. I'm gonna
we
put
can't
that
call
in.
it old timers day because we ain't old timers.
Hell no,
So
I will not claim that.
no, we're not claiming that.
I would not claim that at all.
Facts. So what was your school experience like? Were there any teachers or moments that really impacted you?
Yeah. I went to junior high school. It's probably IS now, I think. 35 on Macon and Stuyvesant.
Okay.
And there was a teacher, his name was Mr. King. He was a social studies teacher. That was my favorite subject. Was a white guy, big, tall. He was tall and he was heavy set. Now that I think about it, he looked like he had a toupee on, but I can't really recall whether or not he had a toupee because his hair was just so situated so perfectly with the part and everything too, kind of like mine. But he he introduced me to the class to Gandhi and he showed us the movie and everything, and I was just so impressed by him and by all of his knowledge and everything. And when you're a junior high school, you're in a black junior high school, you're in Bed-Stuy, you can't be interested in school. You are ranked on because
Mhm.
you're a nerd. You're a
Right.
nerd. Why are you so interested in Gandhi? Who is Gandhi? He don't even live no more. He's not even alive anymore. That one kid said to the teacher, you know, why do you care about, why do we have to learn about this person? But it was so interesting, that I would go back to him after the class is over and ask him more questions. And I still remember him from this day that, I mean, umpteen years ago now, that he put an impression on me. And I always loved social studies, always loved learning about history, politics, and things like that. Very I'm an advocate for politics. I'm an advocate for voting and things like that,
Hmm.
democratic voting to be specific. And so because of him and because of his teaching, that's what, it kind of molded my political views and my thoughts and ideas, and and things like that too. But who knew? Like back then, I was just like, wow, this is an interesting story about this guy, who went X amount of days to eating because he wanted to free his people. And then to grow up to think about, like, oh my God, I still remember this person and the impact that he had on me. So yeah.
Wow. And what about your high school experience? Where did you go to high school?
I went to Barton. I went to Clara Barton. Uh-huh.
Varn. Oh boy, that's where all the girls. And I say no. I say that because no. Because the thing about Barton was Barton. So Barton.
Prospect Heights.
No, well, probably, but they were right across the street from there. But Barton was where all the girls went. So
Right.
if you wanted to get off, we wanted to go somewhere to hang out. You got off at Franklin or Eastern Parkway, and that's where all the girls were. Morrow was like that, and Murray Bergstrom were the three
Mhm, mhm.
schools that if they just took a tally of the schools that had the finest girls, it would be Morrow, Clara Barton, and Murray Bergstrom. Those would be the three schools that would stand.
I didn't know that, but I knew that a lot of guys knew to get off or to go to Barton or at least meet up or Franklin and Eastern Parkway to see
Hmm.
the girls get off on the train in the morning time or in the afternoon. So that I did know, but I didn't know that they were those were the standards for the
Yeah, that was if you went to if you was in one of the Coney Island schools,
huh.
you went to Morrow.
Right.
If you were in the heart of Brooklyn schools, you went to Clara Barton, and if you were
Mm.
down in anywhere in the city, you would have to go to Murray Bergstrom.
Wow. Wow. Yeah,
Craziness,
I
right?
didn't. I went. My stupid self went only up to 11th grade, and then I dropped out. So I wound up getting my GED later on, but probably like a year later, or whatever.
Hmm.
And but my time in Barton was spent with Rashida, Shakim, and Lushana. So we all went to the same school, and Ishana as well before she passed away. So
Yeah.
Ishana went as well too. So we all was in school at the same time, and we had a blast. We always used to meet up with Joyelle on the 3 train. She went to John Jay.
Hmm.
Kenya went to Sarah J. Hale, and we would all meet up on the 3 train. Remember Felipe over that? We used to see him. I forgot what school Felipe went to, but we always met up with him on the train as well.
Felipe
So
or Felix?
Felix, we call him
Felix.
Felipe.
Felix, yeah, shout out to Felix. Yeah, Felix. So Felix went to art and design because he
Art and
went with
design.
Sherrod. Yeah,
Okay.
Felix. And Felix always roll with the crew. It's always the short ones, man. That roll with the damn crew. Always a short one.
Yes. So yeah, we would meet up with Felix. We call him Felipe. But we meet up with Felix, and we all be on the train and stuff like that. We'll meet at the end of the train, the 3
Hmm.
train, and then go all the way up to the front when we get off at New Lots. It was good times, good times. So I think, what did I study? I studied human services. Yeah, I think it was human services that I was studying. I think because, I was so conflicted on what I wanted to do, and the counselors weren't really helping me, literally guide me. The guidance counselors weren't guiding me the proper way. So I wound up just dropping out. And my mom was like, she was like this. Listen, I'm done trying to help you, figure out what you want to do. You're getting older now. You need to figure it out yourself. So I just wound up dropping out. And then maybe a couple of months later, I was told it was working at Gersh, and they said if I don't go back to school or do something, they was going to cut me off. I wasn't going to work for them anymore. So I needed that money. So I wound up going to getting my GED at Gersh as well too. And from there, what did I do? Okay, so I wanted to go to Tennessee State University, but I got accepted and everything, but it was some issues with my mom that, you know, in the long run, it was financial issues, so I couldn't go. So I wind up fast forwarding, going to Kingsborough, taking some liberal arts classes. Then I started working for housing in the mailroom in housing. And that was going to be my very first permanent job. Like, oh my God, I got a job with the union. I can't,
Yeah.
any job at that. Oh, snap. And my bosses, it was a bunch of knuckleheads, in which I'm still friends with those same knuckleheads inside the mailroom in NYCHA. And my bosses was like, don't fall into this trap. Stay in school. Stay in school. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can get sucked in. And I was like, all right, I'm going to stay. And it was hard because then after school, after work, I would take the N and transfer to whatever train I forget to go all the way out to Kingsborough. Be cold out there in the summer, in the wintertime, the beach right there, and you freezing. You missed the bus. You asked out, so you got to walk all the way down to catch another train. And it was so much. So I stopped going. Man, they were pissed off with me because they seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I wind up not going back to school until I've already had 2 children, 1 divorce, 2 children, and tons of other stuff that was going on. And I wind up saying, you know what? I can't work these shitty, if I can say it,
Oh, yes.
shitty ass jobs. I was working White Castle, home health aid, just, part-time jobs here and there or temporary jobs, literally going nowhere, like doing nothing. Like, in my eyes, I was working. I always had a job, but it was literally doing nothing. And it was when, 2017 is when I first went. Then everything was just going downhill from there. There's life. I won't get into it, but life really took me for a loop. And I said, I can't do this. I can't go to school and do all this at the same time. That said, let me regroup, go and see what happens later on. Fast forward to the ending of COVID. I was working a temporary job at HUD, and I was taking phone calls for 311, where they would call
The information.
not 311, not for information, for complaints of heat and things like that.
Right. Okay. Right. Not 411. Yeah.
Right,
I got
right.
you.
So the work was so mundane. It was horrible. And it was so bad. And I'm listening to the coworkers, and he's like, yeah, I've been here for X amount of years, and I got 20 more years to go. And I'm like, wait, but you're already like 50. So what do you mean you got 20 more years to go? You mean to tell me that you work really good, you're definitely going to get hired permanently? And I'm like, me get hired permanently here? I said, no, I can't do that. I went straight back to College of Staten Island, got my I'm gonna say PhD. That's the next step. But I got my bachelor's in sociology, anthropology. After I just knew I needed to do something, so wound up doing that. Working now with them as a office assistant, not office assistant, a college assistant in the admissions and recruitment division. And I'm happy there. I'm working there, and I'm still looking to grow. So I'm currently doing my master's program, and I have 2 more classes. This is my last semester before I graduate, Master in Liberal Studies. I'm looking to work in anything in environmental, anything in sustainability. I do moonlighting as a compost ambassador for the sustainability at the College of Staten Island as well. And that's where my passion really lies, within sustainability. I really grew to love, all the initiatives that we do, whether it be composting, whether it be swap meets and things like that, where we can divert any type of garbage from going into the landfill, you name it, anything sustainability is what, I really love to do. And then I'm slated to hopefully be accepted in a PhD program, Doctor of Liberal Studies, for the University of Memphis, which is coming up for the spring. So fingers crossed, once I finish my master's this semester, I'll be going into my doctorate program in January. So it's a lot.
No, it's
It's
a
a
lot.
lot.
Congratulations, because I was
Thank
going to
you.
ask you about that because I remember you posting your graduation pictures, and I was
Mhm.
like, wow, like that's one of the beauties about Facebook is that you can just see people's journeys and where they
Yeah.
pick up, and like you said, you dust yourself off, and I tell people all the time the beauty about growing up in Boulevard was that it didn't have to be the end all be all,
No, you're
but there
right.
was typically people around you that saw something in you that pushed you into positive lanes, and
Mhm.
there's not a lot of us that I can say that are doing really bad. I mean, I would say if you took the majority of everybody, there's probably maybe 20%
Right,
that's not, but
right.
the other 80% are doing
Doing
like
good
great and
things.
doing well for themselves.
That
And that's why I love Boulevard so much because, like you said, we all got along, and like I said, up until that unfortunate incident, um, with the guys from the middle,
mhm, mhm.
that really should not have went down because we
Mhm, mhm.
all went to school, like we all went to 273 in Gersh together.
Right, right.
But I couldn't even tell you how it started. I just know my brother Corey and CT got into a fight. They
Mhm.
came up and that was just the start of everything, and that ruined to me, it ruined a lot of friendships because I still don't talk to a lot of them,
Right, right.
and I wouldn't even say that I'm bitter or petty. I just my loyalty is just different. Where
Yeah.
if you can turn your back on as even as kids, and I've seen a few of them as adults. You
Mhm.
know, I've seen. I'll say Moshe. I've seen Moshe an adult, not recently, but I saw him when I was still in Brooklyn. Hey, what's up? But it just the love wasn't the same, and I totally respect what he's doing now,
Mhm, mhm.
trying to give back to the kids and stuff. But
Right.
and it's just a story that I would tell people now. Like when I grew up in Boulevard, it was great. Like I mean, my mother lived in Penn Workman,
Mhm.
and I knew some people from there, but I always called Boulevard home because just the unity and the
Yeah.
people that pushed you, and even with the hustlers, they're like, oh no, yo, Ty, you can't be
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here.
yeah.
No, no, hey, get away. And even some of the older guys from the middle, there's a few of the older guys in the middle that and I won't drop their names, but never had an issue with them. Like, oh, Tyrone, oh no, Tyrone, oh no. Like there was a fight that was gonna happen. They was like, yo, you gonna fight this guy? Nah, ain't nothing going down. You just gotta shoot a fair one with him. And
Right.
that's how much respect I have for them older guys from the middle that they even when they had conflict with other people, they still never let like when I moved to Fairfield and rest in peace, Landy. So I'm in the green courts playing basketball, and Landy's like, "Yo, Ty, I know you live in Fairfield now, but if you start hanging with them, man, you just gotta get it like the rest of them." I'm like, "How the fuck you know I live in Fairfield, bro? Like nobody knew I lived up there, you know." And one time we walking down from Fairfield, and again I won't say the person's name, but he popped up behind the garbage can with a shotgun because they thought we was the guys from Fairfield. And they
Uh,
was like, "Yo,
uh-huh.
y'all was gonna get it." I was like, "Damn, is that
That bad.
serious?" And we're only one block apart,
Yep. Yep.
but like I said, even when I lived in Fairfield, and you know, when we moved up there, some of the people, "Oh, what y'all doing up here? Y'all trespass?" Like, nah, like we lived there. I couldn't help that my grandmother moved from Boulevard to Fairfield. I couldn't help it, but I just stayed at like whatever was going on between them. I
Right.
just
Yep.
stayed out of it. I just stayed neutral. You know what I'm saying? I didn't hang out in Fairfield because I knew them from school. I
Mhm.
just didn't grow up with them. But I didn't hang out there, but I knew them, and
Right.
I knew one particular person that everybody was after. His mom's lived right down the hall from me. You
Wow.
know what I'm saying? I'm like, and I say that to say I could have like sold him out, what I'm saying? Because everybody know where he lived, but
But they
I
didn't
just knew to
know.
mind my business. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
was like, nah, I ain't gonna put his business in his mom. My mom's the nicest, like, and the crazy part is, and I'm just reflecting, like some of the people that just were like the biggest troublemakers, so to say,
Mm.
their moms is mad cool. Like
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
knew their moms. It's like, how the hell are you such a big troublemaker and your
Your
mom's is
mother. Yep.
mad cool? You
A
know,
lot were like that too. A lot. Yes.
yeah, and it's like, you see certain moms, hey, Miss So and so, hey, Mr. So and so, hey, Mrs. So and so, and you spoke to that, because again, you were respect whatever issue you had with the son was whatever it was. But when you saw somebody's moms, it was always the utmost respect and stuff like that. And
Mm.
that's like to your point that you can't even go back to Boulevard because I've heard the stories about the young kids wilding out, like, and to hear these young kids the way they curse around adults now, like
Man, it's
I don't
vulgar.
even curse around the elders in my family now, like
Right.
and they just talk like I even got to correct my youngest son. So I'm like yo, bro, like I'm telling your pops, like, like chill out, like, watch your mouth, man. I know well, he'll be 24. I'm like, dude, like, yo, watch your mouth,
Chill
man.
out.
Like,
Right.
so what role did music, fashion, and food play in your upbringing?
Fashion. Guess jeans. Bo Jacksons. 54
5411.
hip hop. I mean, hip hop itself, I think we were the epitome of hip hop in when we grew up in the 90s. I think we were living videos off of Yo MTV Raps or Video Music Box. I think we were the epitome of of that era. We dressed the part as if we were in a video every single day because we I think the music that came out were literally from us. So I mean from our neighborhoods and from I can't name everybody right now. My mind runs a blank, but I just anybody who came from the neighborhood, they knew our struggle. They knew who we were. They spoke to us through their music. And so I think when we saw them on the screen, we was like, wait, that's us. We dress like that. This is how we are. So I think we were literally walking videos. We were literally walking rap videos or hip hop videos. And that's where we get our style, our swag and everything from. And it's literally by just living life. I don't think it was nothing that we choreograph. We didn't choreograph anything. It was just living our lives in East
Right.
New York or in Brooklyn. So what else? Oh, food. I don't think for me, food didn't really become such a big aspect or big part of my life until later on
Hmm.
because we expanded our palate, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, because we had all of the fast food and things like that. But I think what really the core was is what your mom's was cooking on Sunday.
Amen.
Whatever
That's
your
right.
mom is, what's your mom making? I'm coming over. Make me a plate. Thanksgiving for us was always a big deal because all of our parents cooked.
Yep.
So we would literally hop from one house to the next and get up. I still don't understand how we ate all that food, but we would go from Fort Greene, where Mooka family lived, from her grandmother's house. We would come back over to Linden to go to Rashida's house. We would stop over at Miss Julia house. My house was always the last house to go to because my mother always started late and she always ended late. So anytime after everybody had visited all of their family house and stuff like that, and they came back to the hood or came back to Boulevard, they were like,
Hmm.
"What your mom cook?" And I was start giving everybody plates and stuff like that. Monty and everybody who come to the house, "What your mom cook? What your mom cook?" All right, here, take a plate, take a plate. But, what I think the music of the day, man, there was some good music
You
that
could dance to it. You can't even dance. So I coach girls basketball out here in
right.
Florida
Great,
too.
great job. Kudos to you too for all of the
Thank
work
you.
you're doing. Doing
Thank
great.
you. And I like so like my seniors that just graduated, they're like, Coach, can I get the aux cord? So when they said that they want to play music, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I said, you can play whatever you want. You can't play Sexy Red. Go. No, you can't. No, it just some about that girl. Just and respect to her music and whoever. I just can't. I can't do it.
Wait, wait.
She's every hood rat on steroids.
Okay, but wait. We used to listen to Akinelli.
Well, but Akinelli, he had the one song that was really a hit. He had the one song that was vulgar and
Vulgar.
yeah,
Literally just like her. Now I'm not an advocate because I don't listen to her music, and I've heard a few and I'm like, oh my God, my ears. But listen, we used to listen to some crazy stuff back in those days too.
yeah. No, I mean I get it. Listen. I let a lot of the music go, but it's something about her voice and her. I can't do it. I can't fool with her. I can't fool. But I tell them also. I said, and I was talking to somebody on the previous podcast. I said it's sad that the one song that everybody dance to is "Boots on the Ground" and "Damn Line Dance." Like there's no real music like
No,
Salt and
it's true.
Pepper, like
It's
Kid and Play.
true.
Like you had music back then, even coming up until around 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I I want my youngest son. I want to go to a club with him, even at my age now, because I just want to see like when you went to a club back in the 90s, you meet girls, you have a good time, you dancing. I'm so curious now to see what they do, what these kids do. Like, one, do they still have clubs? Like that, like the tunnel, like stuff like that, like
Right.
the big name clubs. And two, what do they do? Because there's nothing to dance to. So everybody's got to be standing on the wall, me mugging. Girls are probably still dancing with girls, but and
Yeah.
everybody's doing the one damn line dance when it comes on.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm so curious to what they did, like, because they don't like. What do y'all do? I'm curious.
Right. Yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, come on, all of the dance. Was it Tootsie Roll and the WAP and some of everything we used to do. You're right. I wouldn't even begin to guess what goes on. If right, are any clubs still going on? I don't think so. Like the last club I thought was what's his name's club? 4040 Club. What's his name?
Jay Z.
Jay-Z's club. That's the only thing that literally comes to mind. A club. What is open now? What I don't know. I'm not in that scene anymore.
Yeah,
I'm not in
yeah,
that
yeah.
scene. I really don't know what goes on outside outside of the campus for the most part. But it the social norms that we used to have are definitely gone from, literally speaking to people. It's hard. I talk to a lot of students every single day, and the mumbling is.
Oh, that drives me crazy.
I'm like, how can I help you? I can't help you if you're not talking to me. No, not no eye contact, looking down, looking everywhere else. What's going on? So how do you guys interact with each other when y'all out and about trying to? Yeah, I guess that's the only
Text
way.
messaging. Yeah.
That's the only way.
Have you seen the spelling, the way they spell in text messages now too? I'm
No,
like,
what the
what? Like, what are you trying? English, please. Hello.
IDK, IKK. Wait. What is it?
IDKs. I don't know.
I don't know. IKK something something something.
IKR. Like,
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah.
yeah, everything is damn abbreviated. Like, I mean, it's already sad that they've removed scripture, like writing script out of the schools. Like, have these kids can't sign their names, they can't do anything. Like, and I'm like, how to write. I mean, you don't really gotta write checks anymore. Nobody really write checks, but I'm
Mm,
like, how did like you guys gotta know how to manage your money and how to speak and how to go into boardrooms. Like I tell people my biggest, one of the biggest takeaways that I got from going to Brooklyn Tech was how to deal with people from different cultures.
right.
Because Brooklyn Tech, you had white, black, Indian, Asian, Chinese, Asian. Like you had people from all over the world, and in Boulevard, it was primarily, we had, White Mike was like the only white
Right.
family in Boulevard. But he was basically one of us. He grew up with us, so he don't even count. And then Howie and his brother
Joey.
AG White from
Oh,
Skank, I mean, that was it. Like, so you didn't really get to deal with other races. And then when I got to high school, it was like, oh, like, and even though we cracked our jokes, but but you knew who to deal with and who not to
yeah.
deal with. But
Yeah.
that's something that these kids, like you said, like you can't even walk into like how do you expect to get a job, like going to an interview.
Yeah.
I often work with my girls on like how to talk to a college coach. And
Right.
I mean, now AI has made it so simple now, but this is what you say, like, coach, what do I say? Well, this is what you say, this is what you
Mhm.
ask, this is what you look for. Again, I mean, these kids don't get no homework,
No.
they don't carry school books home. I can stand outside my house and watch the kids walk to the neighborhood. I don't even think they walk with book bags anymore. I'm
No.
like,
For the
do
most
you
part, no.
guys do you guys even study? Like they don't even study. Like this terrible.
Right.
So how did the diversity in culture of Brooklyn influence your worldview? Like how did growing up in Brooklyn impact you in that way?
So, like you mentioned, it, in Boulevard, it was the four corners. So you really had to venture out to really get to know what other cultures really, what other cultures are doing, within within your own city. And I think when I started working for housing, that's when I started really getting to know other folks, white, Indian, all walks of life. And that that's where the food part comes in, where now I'm learning, not only because what brings anybody closer is through food. So when I'm talking with folks, oh my God, this thing is dinging, dinging, dinging. Excuse me.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Just do not disturb for now.
You're an important person. You're fine.
Okay. um, yeah, so when I started working for housing, that's when I started getting to know a lot of different folks from different walks of life. And then, starting visiting folks, getting to even some of my Black friends, who lived in Harlem, which I never really ventured out to before I started to get to know them, and their own their total different culture from us. Like, wait a minute, you're Black, but you still this is not the norm for us in East New York. So I think just literally once you started venturing out of the four corners of Boulevard, that's when I started to learn more about the cultures of the world within New York, because it's so many folks to really learn from. And you know to and getting rid of stereotypical thoughts and things like that,
Mhm.
of about folks. I remember when at one point when I was working at Taylor White Houses over in Williamsburg,
Mhm.
I started working with the Hasidic Jew population, and
Yeah.
they were mostly the residents, them, and also Hispanic residents over in those projects there. A lot of the things that I knew of were all stereotypical of them and of their religion and things like that. You know, those who really actually took time to talk to me instead of just looking at me as the receptionist, which I was. I got to know a lot of folks and get to know a lot of what goes on within their religion, and to try to downplay the stereotypical thoughts that we had before.
Right.
Of course, we had the negative thoughts because of things that happen in Crown Heights and things
Right.
like that. So, the conflicts with the Black folks and the Jews as well. But when you get to learn and talk to folks and really see them as human, eye to eye, then it's a different culture. It's a different way of learning. So New York in its own right, I don't have to go anywhere. I can literally go up the block and go to this Turkish restaurant and try their Turkish cuisine. Or I can go further down and go to a Greek restaurant. Or I can go up like in my vicinity, I can
Mhm.
literally just go to any Peruvian, Mexican, Ecuadorian. I have all of these places nearby where I can go and experience somebody's culture. And then not only am I eating their food, I'm talking to them too. What is going on? What are you doing in your country? What's going on in your country? What brought you here? Whatever. I don't want to use the word melting pot, but it's because that means that their culture is going to be dissipated and is going to be all congealed into one American ideal. No, we want to keep their culture. We want to keep their traditions alive and stuff like that, so we all can learn from them.
Yeah, yeah, and no, and I mean, it's a different type of melting pot that you
Mhm.
just like you said have so many cultures around you
Mhm.
that you can just learn from, and not even Brooklyn, like you said, New York City as a whole. You got certain sections that are, and you can just go there and like I said, eat. I mean,
Mhm.
every time I come back to New York, I get pizza and I get White Castles, well, actually, and I go to Chinatown. There's a place in Chinatown called Wohop.
Well,
It's on
yeah, yeah, yeah.
17 Mott Street. You go downstairs, and for like $20, $30, you eat like a king. They
Yes,
bring so much.
that's right.
Oh,
That's right.
let me close with this last question. What is the one piece of Brooklyn you carry with you no matter where you go?
I do not rep Staten Island. I've been on Staten Island since 2007. And when somebody asks me if I'm going out of state somewhere else, somebody asks me where I'm from, I say I'm from Brooklyn. Brooklyn, although I haven't lived there in some time, it is my core. That is home. Nonetheless, how different it has changed. I am a Brooklyn girl through and through. where it molded me to the person that I am today. Brooklyn is always going to be my main place of where I say I'm from. So Brooklyn is me. Brooklyn is me.
Okay, yeah, listen, I thank you so much for coming on. I've been waiting for this for a while. Like I said, you're,
Thank
you're the
you.
second person I've had from Boulevard on here, but I knew, like I said, I had to have you on because,
Thank you.
like I said, you're just one of the funniest people. Like I said, I wish I could have a mic when you girls are sitting together because I know you be going in on them. Just your character, and like I said, you're a beautiful soul.
Thank
You
you.
know, like I said, one of the best out here, and just said your journey
I
is
appreciate
amazing. You know, keep doing what doing, helping guiding these college kids,
it.
because they need that guidance. And, I like, as I talk to my, former plays, I tell them, and I still never finished college, but thankfully, because of my education through high school,
Mhm.
I got a great job. And like I said, I'm coaching. And, but these kids don't realize that, when they say, "Oh, I'm going to take some time off for school," and I say, "Yeah, I took time off and I didn't go back for 17 years."
Right, right.
Stay now. I wish I would have stayed then and just got it out of the way, but God had a different plan for me.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but He put you in that spot to tell these kids, look, yeah, listen, I dropped out of high school, but I got my GED. I went back to school. I worked temporary job, and you got to a
Mhm,
point where it was like, you know what? I ain't doing this shit like that. And that's how it was when I worked in the post office. I worked in the post office when I got out of high school. I worked in a gas company for 2 years. They wouldn't
mhm.
hire me permanently, so I worked in the post office in JFK Airport of all places.
Oh
And
gosh.
I used to tell people everything you hear bad about that place, believe it.
True.
And like you said, pulling mail from one end of the building to the other, the shit was boring. Like it was
Yeah,
boring. It was like,
yeah.
yeah, I can't. It wasn't It wasn't challenging our minds,
Mhm.
and you found a job that just wasn't challenging your mind until you got to a point
Exactly.
like for me, it's coaching. Like I love it because I'm, interacting with the youth, and and I coached all the way down into the middle school now, and I'm
Mhm,
trying to
mhm.
steer these girls. Hey, stay away from these boys and watch out for
Right.
this and do this.
Be a
Don't be,
mentor
this.
to them, yeah.
This is one kid that was at the high school, and I said, see him? That was me in high. Like that's who I was. I was the one
Right.
talking to the girls, doing it, and I said it got me. It made me a father early, which I love my daughter and don't regret it. But should I have waited? Absolutely. But God had a different plan. Like I said, my daughter's a beautiful soul now, and about to make me a grandfather. So I've been telling everybody with excitement, like, I can't wait. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna spoil the hell out of that kid and send him right back, sugar them up, and send them right
that's
back.
it.
So, as I always end the podcast, you could have spent your time doing anything in the world, and you spent it with us, and we appreciate it. Yo, big up Brooklyn always, and we
Brooklyn
out. Peace.
always.
That's a wrap for today's Growing Up Brooklyn podcast episode. Be sure to like and hit that subscribe button.